Breathe in. Breathe out.
Hello, my name is Gail, and in spite of my mental disturbances, I am back, and I am going to let you in on a little secret. But when I say secret, I'm not referring to something kept from the knowledge of others or shared only confidentially with a few, so much as I meant to evoke a certain... with the phrase... Forget it. Oh, okay. We are just going to see how rich people are represented in the media and how that compares and contrasts with how they actually are, in my experience, of course. Here's the deal. I need a break from these longer videos, and by longer, I mean the ones that are more than 20 minutes long. I have already put off recording this one for about a day or two, but I know that I just have to get it done. I know that I've never been the epitome of jubilance and hyperactivity, but I will be more reserved and probably neglect to put on a less amateurish voice for certain segments, as if it was consistent at all in the past. I've only made 16 videos, but it feels like so much more. So, here's how it is going to be. First, I prattle, or waffle, or babble, depending on what kind of English you speak. Then, at this timestamp, you may find in the chapters, I will simplify the main archetypes of these beings I've seen in film. I will use popular movies, so don't you worry. I will then go on a tangent about what the wealthy really do behind the scenes, for I will ultimately conclude that they are humans, just like you and I, but with a few key differences. Watch on to find out. I know, shocker. They're human too. Who could have known? There will be anecdotes. This will be a very anecdotal video. I'm almost 3 minutes in. I'm still under 3 minutes, right? How movies misrepresent the wealthy. Featuring my class rank. To cut a long story short, or at least shorter than it was going to be, I have met many wealthy people before, and honestly, I'm not very impressed. So much wasted potential. Now, my mate and I are in a very strange position where we are in a state of relative insecurity at the moment, but only relatively so. So, relative to where we were just a few years ago, for example. Yet we still technically have many resources and connections that, superficially at least, seem to contradict the implication that we are part of the working... you couldn't see that. Working middle class. We are... Consider me classless, if you will it. The point is that I've been surrounded by opulence and also worked with and for such people in the past. I will try not to define what it means to be wealthy, but I also do not want to reference the wealthy and risk shifting the goalpost or being too ambiguous. I think that, given what I am about to say, it does not really matter if I am talking about people with a yearly income of $1 million US or $1 billion US. That is income referring to one's gains, so not just what they report to the government, if anything at all, of course. There are distinctions which can be made between multimillionaires and billionaires, but I think that they are mostly inconsequential for these videos. Finally, yes, this video will be divided, but rather than burn time explaining why, I'll just... Oh, okay. The text is already there. Splendid. Yep. I will just let you read that. Anyway, let's highlight some of the paradigms of the ultra-wealthy as seen in cinema.
I'm Catherine. Ain't we having a party?
90 minutes for these little fuckers to kick in, but once they did, I mean, I had skipped the tingle phase and went straight to the drool phase.
Jordan.
Oh,
Jesus, where are you?
I want a country club.
What?
A country club.
True.
Hello? Paris Myrtle.
I'm Catherine. Ain't we having a party?
I'm not sure now's a good time. I'm just going.
Don't be too harsh. That was my first multi-movie clip montage. Now, in order from least to most characters in the official English movie title, the movies whose moneyed characters embody a stereotype and which I will be referencing today are Knives Out, The Great Gatsby, Crazy Rich Asians, and The Wolf of Wall Street. Knives Out. Here, the characters are blatantly satirizations, so they cannot be expected to be realistic representations of well-to-do families, but we can extrapolate from them negative personality traits unique to this movie's depiction. They are spoiled with greed, entitled, and senseless. It's a really good movie, though. The actors were, for the most part... Oh, right. I'm not reviewing these movies. Moving on. The Great Gatsby. In this one, the characters are mysterious and enigmatic. They are sad and tragic as well. The movie glamorizes opulence, never really taking care to show us any of the effects of that on people outside of the main character's social circles, or at least not really. No, getting hit by a speeding car is not the effect of the aforementioned just because the person speeding was rich. I am talking about the effect of their work and businesses and the confiscation of so many resources. Also, I saw the most enlightening video essay on the topic of Nick Carraway, the main character of The Great Gatsby, a few years ago. Nick Carraway is gay. I don't know. Deal with it. I will just link that video in the description. It is fascinating. Crazy Rich Asians. What a sugar-coated fever dream this was. Here, the characters and their lifestyles are very much glamorized. They're blissfully unaware of how the possession of their wealth affects the rest of the world. You know, the billions of people you will never cross while shopping at Chimes or whatever the fuck. More so here than in The Great Gatsby, they really lean into the stereotype wherein moneyed people are depicted as effortlessly wealthy, as if the accumulation of the limited resources of one's wealth tends to be composed is at all easy, and then they are also depicted as endlessly generous and always fashionable. Maybe in Asia, but in the rest of the world, I mean, come on. The Wolf of Wall Street. In this family-friendly coming-of-age flick, the wealth is of course not glorified, but the focus of the movie is less forgiving when it comes to portraying fat cat. They are somehow more hedonistic here than in The Great Gatsby, and seemingly invincible until they are not, and they possess few morals as they spiral into an uncomfortably humid hole of corruption and excess. What is the difference between the well-endowed people we see on screen and those who occupy a little bit too much space in this world, media headlines, and scenic beachfronts, you may ask? Well, the entitlement, hedonistic tendencies, putative incontrovertibility, and especially the disconnectedness describe the majority with much accuracy, but there are always exceptions, of course. It is possible to amass wealth as a truly good person or to just be born into it, but to maintain it necessitates that you do bad things, unless you are gifted or something, in which case you can just elevate yourself using the boost that your family's cold-blooded ascension through the ranks affords you. Principally, they are just dejected people who have lost touch with reality. They've gotten so caught up in the games and system which awards them so unevenly and protects them from a lot of the anxieties which the majority of people face. It does not take a lot of wealth, though, to distract someone from the purposeful abatement of the progress of other kinds of people abroad, just because there is already so much on which to focus in those clean and comfortable spaces. Even single liberal leftist Americans making $100,000 a year in, Portland, Oregon, tend to be ignorant of the effect of their consumerist tendencies, as we have all seen in this last US election. People with deep pockets tend to justify their lassitude by redirecting the spotlight on them at present, not away from them, but back away, toward the lot of their class rather. And they are right to do this, somewhat, because it is a problem which stems from the collective action and inaction of the group as a whole. But what so many do not seem to understand is that if they, as a class, truly wanted what every person, regardless of class, wants you to think they want, so that would be to end world hunger, never to go to war, education for everyone, ending sex trafficking, free or at least more accessible housing, vacation days for days, liberation of the fairer sex, cheap or gratis medication, charities, foundations, non-profits, or mine, then they would make it happen or have made it happen already, because every single one of those issues, which affect developing countries the most, mind you, could be resolved within the decade. Neither the busied A-list actors, nor prosperous politicians, nor the successors of old, affluent, hereditary lines actually want things to change, because their positions and role in society would have to be scrutinized in order for that to happen. Class traitors, like Luigi Mangione, for example, are the exception, in more ways than one, too. The more they give you, the closer you are to living a decent life. The better your life, the more time you have. The more time you have, the more time you have to finally wake the fuck up and remember the fact that no one is deserving of the privileges these people afford themselves. I have said it before, I know, but how do you fix problems caused by not having enough money to afford something you need? Well, you make the thing that you need free. Or you can subsidize it, making it so inexpensive that the percentage of your income it costs is negligible. For again, liberating necessities from the market means that the wealthy have less to hold over everyone else. Hierarchy is unnecessary if everyone is truly equal, well-adjusted, and accessible. But of course, I mean accessible like open, not over-individualized or atomized like things are now. The solution is not to retreat into the privacy and elusive safety of our homes and bedrooms and cars and business class lounges, but to open up and be more transparent and reasonably skeptical. Rich people are isolated. They retreat to survive. They are not moral exemplars. In the next video, I will talk about the reality of the well-endowed, and I will speak on some of the ways in which those resources and power manifest. There is a high likelihood that one or more of these things will shock you, so to be continued.